What?
Subscribe.
Subscribe. We'll highlight all that. Don't you worry.
I'm just
But of
saying,
course,
you gotta remind people.
Subscribe right now.
Subscribe.
subscribe. Of course.
Philadelphia, baby, you're gonna love it. Best sports fans in the world. Actually, the worst, but that's what makes them the best.
So I had a tea time yesterday at everyone's favorite time of day, 2:30, and I tell Dylan about 2 hours before the round. I go, Dylan, I can't make it to golf. He goes, Yo, why? What's happening? I'm like, I got a dentist appointment, and he goes, How would you book a dentist appointment at the same time as a tea time? And I'm like, Yeah, I'm sorry, dude. Just like my tooth hurty. And it took him about 25 minutes to understand what was being said. He hangs up the phone. He's all pissed off. He's like, all right, well, I'm going to golf, and I guess I'm not going to see you. I'm like, all right, yeah. He calls me. He goes, are you driving? I'm like, yeah, I'm going to the tea time. He goes, I thought you had a dentist appointment. I'm like, no. And he's like, fuck, you meant your 2:30? It's 2:30? I'm like, Dylan, I made this joke the day of my wedding. And I made it for like a month that I wasn't making my wedding because I had a dentist appointment at 2:30.
The way you opened that story delivery up when he said, so I had a tea time, I was like, he's going full Jerry Seinfeld right now.
What are you referencing?
You just sounded like you were a stand-up on stage. You were like, so I had a tea time.
Oh my God. Can I do stand-up?
I have.
All right, so sorry.
I have a buddy who, if he's ever in New York, I gotta like send you to go see him. He's like a very good friend of mine, and he's like very, very funny. Has been opening for a lot of like big time comics recently. He posted a joke on Instagram and TikTok the other day, like 5 days ago, and it is one of the funniest like low level jokes, but his delivery is just so good. It's talking about how Joaquin Phoenix's name is spelled and pronounced
Joaquin.
And it's so fun. Like, I have to play it.
I think to this day the best joke I've ever heard is still John Franklin talking about the edible arrangement and how much he hates edible arrangements because you cannot ruin the structural integrity of said edible arrangement. And then you're picking things out of your fridge and you're rearranging like the shelvings in your fridge to try and make room for the entire edible arrangements. Because also, you can't just eat it in one sitting or else you're a fat ass. And not to mention, it's like 90% melons because they never get the ratio right ever. And then your roommate comes walking into the apartment, seeing you pulling out everything, trying to rearrange the shelves. And he's like, what are you doing? And you're like, I'm trying to keep the structural integrity of the edible arrangement.
This joke is just so funny.
The delivery on that joke, and I will give John the utmost credit. He was one of the funniest people I've ever known in college. That joke will forever be one of the funniest I've ever heard in my entire life. I think for the rest of the time we should call Joaquin Neiman Joaquin. Joaquin Neiman. Joaquin.
I love Matt Lopes. Definitely follow him on Instagram. It's just at Matt Lopes. He's on tour right now, and he's so goddamn funny.
I will definitely have to get on that. Speaking of funny names, so I got the odds board. This week is the American Century out in Tahoe. The top. I don't know how you qualify for this. I guess just like be famous and I guess be good at golf to some nth degree. There are 5 things that I want to point out that are really funny. The greatest women's golfer ever, Annika Sorenstam, is not the odds leader to win this event. Maybe it's because she's older. I don't know. Charles Barkley is dead last in odds at 7,500 to 1. And there is a specific prop bet through Caesars Sportsbook designed to say, hey, can Charles Barkley finish in the top 65 out of 90 people?
That's crazy.
No one else has a placement on the odds board. It is solely him.
That's insane.
So, can Charles Barkley finish top 65 under? So, finishing in the top 65 plus 140. To not finish top 65 is minus 175. Just to point that out in case you want to do it. I want to name you some of the folks who are top, middle, and bottom of this odds board. And then I want to get your take on like people who you think would be like underratedly good at golf. So the odds leaders at 2.5 to 1, tied is Steph Curry and Marty Fish. Now Marty Fish is also a Grass League member, in case you didn't you don't recall that from our conversation a few weeks ago. Followed by Joe Pavelski at 3 to 1, Tony Romo at 4.5 to 1, the great John Smoltz at 5.5 to 1, and then Annika Sorenstam tied with Mark Mulder at 6.5 to 1.
I found out there's no qualification process for the American Century. It is instead invitations are extended to celebrities and athletes from various fields based on their popularity, sports achievements, and other factors.
All right, so this explains why there's a ton of athletes, but I do want to get your opinion on some of these some other guys that in the top. Are you familiar with Taylor Twellman?
Yeah, he's a soccer guy.
Okay, I have
He's
no idea. I have no
big,
idea.
Big in the MLS. He's a former soccer player.
Okay,
but he's like one of the commentators on the MLS season pass on Apple TV.
Gotcha.
Good follow if you're a soccer fan.
I'm surprised to see some people on here. Derek Lowe is 16 to 1. He's top 10 on the odds board. Austin Reeves, AR-15, he's 18 to 1, right behind Lowe. Vinny Del Negro has won this event before. He's 22 to 1. There are like some good ass golfers on this list, apparently. Just like obviously because if they're making odds for it, they clearly know what their skill set is. Country artist Jake Owen, 28 to 1. I love Jake Owen. Aaron Rodgers and in order, Aaron Rodgers, TJ Oshie, and Ray Allen. At the trio of names that you would never think. If we go down to like the middle of the odds board here, Albert Pujols is 250 to 1. He's edging out slightly George Kittle, Grant Hill, and Jerome Bettis. Brett Baer, the Fox News commentator, is better at golf, or actually is equally as good at golf to Chase Utley when they share odds on the board. As well, actually also at 200 to 1, it's Baer, Chase Utley, David Wells, Joe Mauer, Zach Levine, and Justin Gaethje. like just random ass fucking mix.
I love that Ray Romano plays in this.
In a two-person clip tied at 130 to 1, Sam Darnold and Chris Harrison. Chris Harrison, the fucking guy from The Bachelor, the announcer. Alfonso Ribeiro is 125 to 1 with Del Curry and Kevin Millar. Let's see who else is like really weird. At 500 to 1, this is insane. We have AJ Hawk, Andrew Whitworth, Kathy Engelbert, Gary Sheffield, Jay Billis, Joe Theismann, and Rich Eisen.
I love that there's, just from sifting through, there's at least 2 former Philadelphia Phillies World Series champions playing in this.
This is incredible too. At 1,000 to 1, and what I love about talking about this is just the overall diversity of people that fall under a certain betting category. We go from Baker Mayfield to Colin Jost to Devontae Adams, Kyle Lowry, Ray Romano, and Brian Baumgartner. They're all in the same pool.
Did you say Vrabel?
And Mike Vrabel. And Kyle Lowry, who, by the way,
Jason Chef.
Kyle Lowry's ass is as big as you think it is because we saw it in Philadelphia.
Just re-signed with the Sixers today. I don't know why, but good for him.
And very low on the odds board. Also in that 1,000 to 1 area is Rob Riggle and Vince Carter. In the 2000s and worse, Jim McMahon, Jay DeMarcus, Miles Teller, Larry the Cable Guy, DeMarcus Ware, Catherine Tappan, The Miz, and of course Charles Barkley.
And Dylan Dreyer.
I have no idea who that is.
Dylan Dreyer.
So like
she is an American meteorologist.
So she's there for the fun.
She's from Manalapan Township, New Jersey.
So plenty of former Phillies though. Jason Worth on this list. Philly guy Rob McElhenney is here at 250 to 1 with Pat Peterson and Nate Bargatze. That's really weird that 2 comedians and then Patrick Peterson and Ryan Fitzpatrick and really Travis Kelce are all in the same little category pod. Jimmy Rollins is going to be in the field this week.
Miles Teller.
Jason Kelce at a wild 350 to 1. Not nearly as close to his brother, but that's to be seen. What
Jason
other
Worth?
Philly folks we I just
Oh, you said
are you
Worth?
listening to me?
I heard you say Jimmy Rollins and Jason Kelsey.
I also said Jason Worth.
I didn't hear Worth.
Is
That's
Miles
on me.
Teller a Philly guy?
Yes.
I was gonna say he has to
I've
be.
been at-
Shane Victorino is in here too.
Been at Citizens Bank Park a number of times at the same time as Miles Teller.
So you've been in the same building as Miles Teller. I've been 200 feet from Sidney Sweeney.
I was
okay.
in the
We were
same.
at the Rangers game,
I was in the same building as
and
Livy
she was
Dunn.
sitting right there next to Judd Apatow's daughter. What's her name? Is it May? May Apatow?
Maud.
Fuck. Close. We're trying.
I've been in the same building as Livy Dunn.
It's pretty cool.
This season when the Phillies play against the Pirates, they do a celebrity lookalike on the Jumbotron at Citizens Bank Park, and they showed
Let me guess.
Livy Dunn.
You were Livy Dunn.
No, they showed Livy Dunn as the celebrity, and then the
okay,
was
the
Livy Dunn.
It's fucking stupid. I hate that. I hate that shit. I fucking hate when they do that because like you could do way better, but you clearly just couldn't find another person in your 10 minutes on camera.
I got duped yesterday when I was at the game watching Zach Wheeler just be absolutely dominant. The best pitching performance I've ever seen live.
I missed that, man.
They showed Cooper DeJean as the celebrity lookalike, and I thought they were going to show Cooper DeJean because I've been at like 3 Phillies games this year that Cooper DeJean has been at, and then it was just some kid who had the same haircut, and I was like,
by the way,
damn it, I got duped.
I meant to bring this up to you, and we should actually talk about this more on the main pod. But we need to do a study on the Charlotte Hornets roster because they've been cleaning house and they have gone from an average NBA team to basically an entire team of exciting whites. And they're following in the Eagles secondary run. In the last month, they have acquired Pat Connaughton, Ryan Kalkbrenner, Con Knuppel, and Liam McNeely. And they still have Mason Plumlee on the roster. I mean, like, LaMelo Ball is kind of sort of white. Seth Curry is also kind of sort of white. Like, every rookie they've gotten is just a white dude. And they all do the same thing. They're all just different shapes and sizes. I think it's the funniest thing ever how like you look at this team and they're doing the anti-NBA. They're just going in reverse. No reaction.
Hey, I mean, it's the Hornets. They don't even get a reaction from their fans.
Well, now this also segues me into saying this: is this not the most Charlotte thing ever?
Mm-hmm.
Like Charlotte, North Carolina, as a whole, just doesn't strike me as a very socially diverse place. And their basketball team now speaks to it.
Which, like,
it's the home of NASCAR. I mean, that's
but also like, you would think like a place like Charlotte that does have like good sports fans would have like the means to bring in. They have great sports
good
fans.
Sports fans.
I think Charlotte's an underrated sports city for fans.
I mean, the Hurricanes are good. I mean, the
Hurricanes
Panthers
are
have been good for a decade.
Yeah, but even then, like, Panthers fans still show out, and I mean, I get the taste every year with the PLL, with the Chaos being in Charlotte now and being the Carolina Chaos. Their MLS team is unbelievable with fan support. Like, they have a whole supporter section. They got like the flares going off and stuff. It's unbelievable. I feel like it's like the Army members, and then in the middle is the clown, and it's the Charlotte Hornets. They should be so much cooler of a franchise than they actually are. Amazing color scheme, cool logo, like unique like vibe in terms of like what the court can be, what the team could be. You have such a marketable superstar in LaMelo, and they just they fall flat on their face every time. They could be such a cool vibes team. Like, I'm not saying they're going to win a championship or anything, but like they should be what like the Charlotte Hornets should be like what the Mavericks have been pre-Luka trade. They should be like what the like what the 2021 Hawks were. Like they should be like that cool, like fun, like they should be the NBA equivalent to what the Chargers are, where everyone thinks the Chargers are cool.
Yeah.
Because they have cool uniforms, cool logo, like vibes team, fun social media presence. That's what the Hornets should be.
I have a hot take. They need to either A, revert back to the old Hornets logo and not get in with this new funky stuff, or B, they should have never changed to the Hornets. They should have just been the Bobcats and kept the colors.
And I was glad. I do. Funny story. I do have a Bobcats hat, like Mitchell and Ness, like snap.
I think the Bobcats. I think the logo was sort of weak, and they could have done better. But the overall concept, that like royal blue, and not even like focusing in on the orange, like straying out of the orange, because we know my opinion on blue and orange teams. They could have done so much better overall. But the Charlotte Bobcats, in my opinion, is a very cool concept.
Yeah, but it was poor execution on why they were named that.
What was like a fan vote?
No, the owner's name was Bob. He named the team after himself.
That's so bad.
Yeah, he named the team after himself. They should have never changed from that fat, thick 90s Hornet with the basketball. That dude's a hooper.
We need to go back, honestly, to like the whole 90s, early 2000s set of NBA uniforms. The big ass hawk, the buck, the big timber wolf right in the middle, dude.
The giant raptor, the Vince Carter Raptors. Oh,
I will say though, those City Connect uniforms though, not City Connect, the connection jerseys, whatever they are called, or statement jerseys, where it's the dunking Vince Carter Raptor is fucking
so
sick.
Good. It's so good.
That's the one that can stay. That's the only one I care about that actually fucking works.
And then this year's Sixers will be able to stay because they're going back to the AI era Sixers jersey, and I'm so excited.
Yes. Also the old Pistons.
Yes.
Jersey.
DJ calls me crazy, and he's like, "We never won anything in that."
I don't care if you never won anything.
Your current logo looks like a goddamn beach ball. You're the fucking Detroit Pistons. Showcase your the. It makes me so angry. That color scheme is so good. The horse logo is amazing, and everyone from Detroit is like, "Oh, that logo's cursed." Fuck that shit. I don't care if you want to keep the red and blue. Bring that fucking horse logo back. It's so good.
Also, might be a hot take. The first time they went to the alternate Motor City jersey, kind of sick, but that's just
I love that Pistons logo.
They could do way better on it. Also, one final thing that I want your opinion on.
I'm going to add in the Wolves logo, the Kevin Garnett Wolves era logo.
Yeah, T-Wolves.
Yeah.
Those were elite.
Those were amazing.
I also want to say new updated names coming out for the new WNBA Philly team. I understand this whole thing with the bells. I think
bad.
It's a stupid thing.
It's so bad.
Hold on. The Philadelphia Freedom, though, does sound tremendous.
It's fine.
And I can see it happening.
Exists, though.
Who?
There's a tennis team in Philadelphia called the Philadelphia Freedom.
A tennis team?
Yes.
Like a pro tennis team?
Yes.
Never heard of this ever.
It exists.
And who cares?
So the IP, search engine optimization, branding, trademark, and copyright cares.
I also like the and this is a cool one that I think was on Barstool. The Philadelphia 70 Sisters.
So dumb.
No, come on.
There's
that
one name.
Genius.
There's one name and one name only that is good, and it's Philadelphia Revolution.
I don't like it.
It's so good. Hashtag rev up. The
SEO,
revs.
dude. Same thing as the Boston Revolution.
It's the New England Revolution. Totally different sport. They stink anyway.
We're talking totally different sport. The Philadelphia Freedom is you're just talking about a pro tennis team.
Plus, on top of that, it's an Elton John song, and you're not going to get the proper.
Who watches non-major tennis?
I don't care.
It's the equivalent of watching like women's roller derby. You're going to tell me a team called
Freedom is
Freedom was a
mid,
roller derby team that
Liberty
care
Bells is bad, and Revolution is the way to go.
I don't like it. Not at all. Not
so
one
good.
bit. Not one bit. Missed me on the Revs train. I'm sorry.
What's up, everybody? It's KB. Before we get into the episode, just wanted to remind everybody that the Get in the Hole podcast is presented by our good friends at Rita's Italian Ice and Custard in Sewell, New Jersey. You can check them out all season long at 288 Egg Harbor Road in Sewell. Fancy their entire menu of delicious treats from the Italian Ice. My personal favorite, the gelatis, which is the Italian Ice with the custard on top and in the bottom, packaged together with that delicious Italian ice. They've got the concrete, the blendinis, and so much more. Visit ritazice.com to peruse their entire menu of delicious treats and see the nutritional facts about everything as well. Again, that's 288 Egg Harbor Road in Sewell, New Jersey. Our good friends at Rita's Ice Custard Happiness. And without any further ado, let's get into this episode of the Get in the Hole.
Subscribe to Get in the Hole Pod.
Welcome in, ladies and gentlemen, to the Get in the Hole podcast, streaming live here on The Underground, a part of Underground Sports Philadelphia's podcast network on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, YouTube, and wherever you get your favorite shows, bringing you all of the news, betting tips, and updates from across the golfing world, from the LPGA to LIVGolf to our favorite PGA Tour and beyond. Probably presented today and every day by the awesome people over at 47 Brand. KB, I got to tell you, dude, we're out on the golf course yesterday, and my boy Jack pulls up. He's rocking the Rawlings Mets hat. I'm like, dog, that thing looks fire. He goes, yeah. Let me tell you, dude, was listening to your show the other day, heard that it was out, used your code in the description, got my ass the new Rawlings hat with 47 Brand with the Burr technology. Absolutely incredible. 47 Brand, keep making you looking hot and fresh. You got to take off the those stickers, though.
I kept this one here because, Steve, this is my first Burr Technology Phillies 47 hat. I wanted to showcase there for the people. And I got to say, it is super comfortable. And
I got to say,
got a different band going around the inside of the hat.
Mm-hmm.
That is like that cooling band. Amazing technology.
They actually, they also just, I'm looking at it now. They have new NFL. It's the Burr Fairway Hitch hats. The Philadelphia Eagles one looks disgustingly cool. You should absolutely go and check that out. I sense it being your next big time purchase, but looked absolutely fire. 47 Brand keeping you not only beautifully fresh, but keeping you protected and keeping you cool on the golf course from the first hole to the 18th green and beyond. You can get in on all of the action. Shop their collection of Vacation, Rangefinder, Mulligan, Milkwood, Fairway styles, and of course the 47 Rawlings collab. They also have a new collab out with New Balance Golf as well, one of the new players in the headspace. And you can shop all your favorite styles from your MLB teams, your NFL teams, and of course the official licensing shop of TGL Headwear exclusively on 47 Brand. Use the link in our description to shop everything related to the game we all love and get free shipping on all orders with our partners at 47 Brand. Again, code in the link in the description. Check them out. 47 Brand. Go shop now.
Steve, can I tell you they have a massive collab dropping this Wednesday as well? That is like a first of its kind because this company doesn't do collabs. Yeah. There's a guy who is a Twitch streamer, I'm pretty sure, who wears this brand every day. And this company would not partner with him because they were like, it's just not what we do. Dropping on Wednesday, July 9th. If you join the 47 family, you get early access to this. 47 Carhartt.
Oh, baby. We're actually going to be creating the movement of all movements. I got to say, I love this collab.
In all 5 styles for MLB teams. It's MLB 47 Carhartt.
I love this collab, but I got to say, dude, the discovery for women of Carhartt apparel drove the price of Carhartt goods up so much. I used to exclusively wear it casually all the time. I go to like Bob's discount store, not the furniture store, and you'd be able to find this stuff like half off. Once girls started going on TikTok wearing Carhartt beanies, game was over. You're like, oh, what's this brand? I'm like, damn it, that shit was so good. And now
guess
I'm
what,
like,
ladies?
now I look like a poser.
If the ladies want to wear the Carhartt Trucker 47 MLB snapbacks,
I'm all in on it.
Machi, send us the photos. Your boy will retweet them so quick. Okay, July 9th.
To me like a
47 Carhartt.
Like you're low key simping for a girl to rock a Carhartt hat.
Oh my god,
Carhartt Phillies hat.
Who wouldn't? Okay, I would be buzzing beyond belief. But yes, 47 Carhartt MLB collection available in all 5 styles, July 9th. Join the 47 family to get early access to that collection.
You know who probably doesn't wear Carhartt or 47 for that matter?
Dweebs.
Yeah, and one of them is current LIV CEO ScottONeil.
Oh, the biggest dweeb,
who you love so much that I had to misspell his last name and give him 2 L's for this comment that he put out.
He's the biggest dweeb in the room.
He was on the Rick Shields podcast. Now, Rick Shields, of course, partnered with LIVGolf full-time as one of their content creators, was on the Rick Shields podcast and was asked the age-old question: what are the opportunities behind a LIV PGA merger? And he's like, oh, God, I get this question so many times. Of course, Rick's going to ask it to try and get some viewership. He said this, LIV CEO ScottONeil, former president of MSG Sports, who also was the CEO of the Philadelphia 76ers and the Devils as well, and, of course, Harris Blitzer Sports Entertainment. He said, quote, I don't know if it's the right question. If you go to the root of the question and ask if there's opportunities to get all players back playing together, of course, and will now PGA Tour CEO Brian Rolapp help facilitate the process faster than previously? Absolutely. But I'm still the new guy at 6 months. Brian's a new guy at only 6 minutes. Of course, he was only introduced into the role a couple weeks ago. So we all need to get our feet under the table. But are there opportunities? Of course. I've known Brian a long time, and I've had a lot of respect for him. So I'm looking forward to speaking with him. You know, this is giving Xander Schauffele at PCC vibes, like the most non-answer that you want to hear. Of course we want to see a merger between LIVGolf and the Tour. We want to see Bryson DeChambeau back on tour, playing every single week with John Rahm and duking it out and growing these fields. And, of course, the reality is that we've been so far off from that. And that was hopefully a bygone era, right? Because that was the Monahan era. Now he's being sunset out. Roll-ups coming in. ScottONeil looks very in tune to the idea of hopefully creating a merger. Maybe that will loosen the grip that you have on hating this man.
Nothing will ever loosen the grip on my disdain for anybody that has ever set foot in Harris Blitzer Entertainment.
Let me ask you this, because you know ScottONeil more than I do as a executive and an owner and a managing director of a franchise. Do you think it's actually possible that even with Brian Rolapp now coming in and the possibility of hopefully getting a merger, whether it be PGA and PIF or even LIV-centric, like Rick was asking on the pod, do you think ScottONeil is actually going to be interested in a merger? Or is the opportunity of a LIV PGA merger something that would take money away from the overall value of LIVGolf, or honestly make it essentially cease to exist?
Steve, I want to ask you a question, okay? As somebody who pays attention to sports. ScottONeil was the CEO of the Philadelphia 76ers from 2013 through almost all of 2022. Okay? In that time frame, what is that majority of that era referred to in Sixers lore?
The process.
Correct. Steve, what happened during the process era?
Well, I don't know details, but I can certainly tell you that they never won anything.
Correct. But also, that was stalled because Adam Silver's a snake, and forced Sam Hinkie out of his job that Sam Presti just accomplished with the Oklahoma City Thunder, and forced old man Jerry Colangelo and his giant collar-wearing son, Brian Colangelo, into power with the Philadelphia 76ers. But from that era that ScottO'Neil was CEO, the Sixers, like you mentioned, did not accomplish relatively anything outside of drafting Joel Embiid. That's the biggest accomplishment of the era put onto that timeline there. Ben Simmons was a flop. Markelle Fultz, I love him. Unfortunate shoulder injury. Kind of forgot how to shoot relatively what he was in college. Outside of that, there was nothing that was accomplished. We had an early confetti game against the Boston Celtics. Ben Simmons couldn't dunk a basketball. If I am made to believe that the guy running the ship for the Philadelphia 76ers as the CEO, and also the CEO of the New Jersey Devils, which, Steve, by my records, checking the weather, they haven't won a lick of anything either. I can't trust this guy to accomplish a fucking thing.
You know, it's funny because you talk about like how nothing came from the process. I mean,
Minus
one
Joel
of my
Embiid.
favorite. No. Hold on. Pause. We had the evolution of three of my favorite 2K role players ever. Forkez Korkmaz.
Furkan Korkmaz.
Thank you.
Hashtag pop the cork.
Matisse Thybulle.
Sure.
And of course, Long Island legend Tobias Harris.
Oh, bro.
Everyone-
This guy stinks.
Who everyone hates for some reason.
God.
The guy averaged fucking 15 and 7 his career.
And he got
in
paid
Philadelphia.
$100 million because his father is his agent. And part of the deal was his brother Terry. Put it in reverse, Terry. Got a fucking G League contract with the Blue Coats. How do I know? I was there. I was covering the team.
Did you say they had a parade for put it in reverse, Terry?
It's one of the best videos of all time.
Put it in reverse, Terry.
Oh, Terry. Terry, put it in reverse. There's two great 4th of July weekend videos. It's that and Never Seen a Big Boy Get on the Roof. Those are the two best. Those are two Hall of Fame videos.
You also did have one of the greatest photos ever taken during the process, and that was the Kawhi.
Fuck that
Kawhi
shit.
Game winner. The Ben Simmons face is just like it's the ultimate gripe face of all time. You know, I really don't know what ScottO'Neil is thinking with this quote, and I don't want it to like be a bash session on this guy because I just think it's true. There is no real developments occurring, at least anytime soon. Just considering he's recently in the role under a year. Roloff's been in for a couple of weeks. It's like 6 minutes he's been there. So you want to talk like the opportunity that'll happen? Yes, I mean there's opportunities to do it. Will it happen? I don't think so. I think it's a lot of Liv is still trying to forge out their role in the golf space, and they know they know they're behind, and they're not scourging for money. They're not worried about anything. The PGA Tour is still to this day the corporation that needs to worry about financials because of the fact that they have tried so much to keep up, and now additionally with other changes that have occurred within the tour, like we didn't mention it last week, but recent developments have now seen a change in the Tour Championship. They're now adjusting from a full 4-day stroke play match. No aggregate scoring, no additional money. It's now no longer going to be a bigger pot overall than the majors, as it should be. But they're starting to kind of like revert course back to where it should be and righting the wrongs of Jay Monahan. But still, that comes with a lot of questions in terms of the finances. Like, where do we actually go from here? And how's rollout going to change that? I don't think a merger is imminent. Clearly hasn't been for 3 years. But to hear ScottO'Neil say there's opportunity, it doesn't make me feel very optimistic that there's even a slight chance. Because it's somewhere in his head he's going to be thinking about it. And why would you hold back to Rick Shields?
You know,
I can only imagine what he wrote.
It's called I feel like I'm like living my life over again by going through ScottONeil lore with you because I did this 4 years ago.
You know what's great? And the best part is that as long as you're on this show, we're gonna talk about ScottONeil as much as humanly fucking possible.
I'm gonna swan dive off the fucking Ben Franklin Bridge. 7 principles to keep you present, grounded, and thriving. ScottONeil, be where your feet are. Okay,
That's the name of the book?
Yeah, and be where your feet are.
Mouthful.
This CEO of the Philadelphia 76ers and New Jersey Devils offers his own story of grief, healing, and shares his most valuable lessons in what keeps him present, grounded, and thriving as a father, husband, coach, mentor, and leader. Scott avails his network to share poignant life lessons from an array of people, including professional athletes, sports executives, a world-famous movie director, Saudi royalty, and his teenage daughters, among many others. What a conglomerate of people to get advice from. Saudi royalty and your teenage daughters.
Wait, hold on. Wait, I now need to. Sorry. Hold on. I gotta look up ScottONeil book. I am now so curious who the Saudi royalty is.
Ugh.
And if for some reason it is Yasir Al Rumayyan, I would fucking cry.
I guarantee it probably is.
Let's see. Be where your feet are.
Bitch, how would I not be? They're attached to my body.
This thing costs $19
Yeah. It's fucking scalping.
with Randall A. Wright. Wonder if he interviews Taylor Gooch. Oh my god. ScottONeil and his fucking dumb mug. All right, I can't find the people who he speaks to, but I'm sure it's probably that.
I'll try to find it for next week.
I'm gonna go to my local Barnes and Nobles, and I'm gonna go and look and try and see if I can find this book, and hopefully I can get you some details in on it. Trudging along though, a lot of things to chat about here on the show as we're already a half hour in. I feel like we just run the gamut on nonsense for so much of this show. Let's get into the meat and potatoes, right? Gary Woodland, the new and final vice captain pick for Keegan Bradley going to Bethpage this year. I want to get your perspective on something that I've been kind of mulling over and thinking about, and I think this is a fascinating change in the guard, right? We already knew when Keegan Bradley was given the Ryder Cup role that there was a change in momentum and thought process for what USA Golf was going through and what their goals were. And so if you look at the list of guys who are going to be VCs for Keegan Bradley, Brandt Snedeker, Kevin Kisner, Webb Simpson, Jim Furyk, and now Gary Woodland. A very different approach from years past. And you know this as somebody who not only watches golf, but also watches a lot of other major big-time sports where in international competition, the coaching staff tends to be much older, a lot more seasoned. Not always players, because obviously the sports are different, but it's relative to everybody else who's usually been on this track. The Steve Strickers and the Davis Loves and the Jim Furyks as the lone exception of this team in their 50s and 60s. Freddie Couples, 60 years old, guys who have been in it for a while. Stuart Sink was even on it 2 years ago, who have played for a long time. Or in the ends of their career for the most part, and this is now the obvious transition into a quote unquote coaching role. In years past, we've had Phil Mickelson as a VC, we've had Tiger Woods as a VC back in 2019 with Jim Furyk. He eventually was a player on the team, but in terms of overall experience, a relatively young and inexperienced group, right? While Jim Furyk was the captain in 2019, he was also the VC in 2021-23. Not many other people have coaching experience on this roster. Brandt Snedeker was a two-time player in 2012 and 2020 and 2016. He's never coached on a Ryder Cup team. Kevin Kisner never even made a Ryder Cup team in his career. He made the President's Cup twice, but was never on a Ryder Cup squad. Webb Simpson played 3 times in 12, 14, and 18, has never coached, so this is his first time gig. Also the youngest guy in the group, or the second youngest guy in the group at 39 years old. And then Gary Woodland, another guy, was never on a Ryder Cup team. Oddly enough, in his career. He was on the 2019 President's Cup team. So not a lot of coaching experience whatsoever, and little playing experience in the grand scheme in a Ryder Cup setting. The President's Cup, yes, I understand it. It's still an international competition, and a lot of these guys played on like Palmer Cup, Walker Cup teams as amateurs, but it's a different sort of level of competition, right? We talked about it on the show back in last September. The President's Cup is not the same as the Ryder Cup. It doesn't hold the same value. It doesn't hold the same intrigue. It's like you're looking at the Carabao Cup compared to the FA Cup in EPL soccer, right? Like the FA Cup's been around for 100 years, 200 years. The Carabao Cup is something that's relatively new. It's a domestic trophy that no one really cares about. Is it in the grand scheme anything huge? Not totally. People are looking at like the Europa League over that when you look at the scale. The President's Cup has never been this big shiny object that you want to win. The USA's won it 15 straight times. And it's not going to change for a long time. Just the competition level of who you're playing against is so different than who you're playing against in Great Britain and in Ireland and in Scotland and continental Europe, right? And obviously the USA team has been struggling a lot over the last few years in order to try and beat the European side. Of course, they won at Whistling Straits, but they struggled outside of that. We have a brand new inexperienced coach. Keegan Bradley is a one-time player, never coached on a team. 3 guys have never been on a Ryder Cup team and are now coaching. 2 guys who have been on Ryder Cup teams but haven't really had that overall experience. Ooh. My wife's getting me ice cream. So when you look at it from that lens, right, it's a very young, inexperienced group, like I've been saying. It's a youth movement, though, that I think is an interesting change from where we've been for a long time, right? Do you think it's valuable? And you can compare this to like PLL because you have experience there, where in a young sport like the PLL, where the veterans are still in their late 30s, the guys who are retired and come and gone. I think of like Rob Pennell is a great example, and
Still
others.
Playing.
Yes, exactly. Like back end of his career, those guys stepping into captain's roles rather than the original guys who used to play in like the MLL days coming in to coach your team, and the fact that they know these guys a little more than the older fellows. Like Steve Stricker didn't know Colin Morikawa the way that Gary Woodland is going to openly know a lot of the guys that are going to be on this team. Do you think that gives an advantage to a team like this, where as the Europeans are still rooted in tradition, sticking to the older level guys? I mean, Luke Donald's still young, but hasn't been playing for a few years.
I've been saying that a lot when it comes to the PLL, where we've seen some coaches like step down and we've seen coaching turnover, and some of the teams like the Maryland Whip Snakes, the New York Atlas, and I want to say one of the other teams, and most recently with the California Redwoods and the Carolina Chaos, when they've had coaching changes, but in particular New York and Maryland, when they made their coaching changes, they hired guys that not only played lacrosse professionally, they hired guys that played in the PLL.
Yeah.
So not only is it an advantage for those guys who played the sport, they played within the confines of what the PLL rules are. So it's been a benefit. And year one of Drew Snyder being the offensive coordinator for the Maryland Whipsnakes, they go to the championship. I think that's a huge benefit for any team when you bring in a coach who, because not all players are good coaches. And we've seen that time and time again. You know, we've seen that happen a lot in the NFL, where
the MLB,
NHL, like you see guys who are not good coaches. NBA as well.
The NBA is huge for that one.
Yeah, 100%. But when you find the right guy who knows the sport, played the sport, and can relate to the current players as well, not only as players, but as people, that's when you've got the recipe for success.
And I think what's interesting, too, and you bring up a point that I'm actually resonating with now. You notice the guys who are the best coaches were not the superstars. prime example, right? Just look back to the last, let's call it 5 young coaches, and the MLB probably like makes sense, right? You look at Alex Cora was a rotational platoon player. Joe Girardi was not an all-star catcher by any means. He was a great player, but he wasn't anything absolutely insane. You can look at Gabe Kapler, another example. Was a rotational guy, platooned in the outfield, was not this insane guy, but managed pretty damn good to coach the Phillies for a while. Craig Counsell.
It's a bit of a stretch, but
Craig Counsell, also rotational shortstop.
I think Craig Counsell's the best example in baseball.
You could even go as far as saying like Mike Matheny early on in St. Louis. And like granted, like also positionally, right? Certain players make more sense. Shortstops and catchers are just smarter than everybody else, and they work as coaches. You can even go to like hitting coaches, pitching coaches. I think baseball is the best example of this because like in the NBA, you see guys fizzle out so quickly. And they kind of revert backwards. NFL, you don't see it nearly as much where it's former players become the coaches. But baseball really does hit the nail on the head here. I think the beauty
Rob
of
Thompson.
Yes.
Rob Thompson only made it to single A, and he's got the best winning percentage of any Phillies manager all time.
And the beauty of all the guys that are on this team, there isn't a whole lot of winning on this team. When you look at the coaching staff comparatively to who could be there, right? Jim Furyk has had a great triumphs on the PGA Tour, has won a handful of times. I believe he's won at least 15 times. So he's done plenty. Yeah, he has 17 tour wins. But Brandt Snedeker, under 5 tour wins. Kevin Kisner, I believe, under 10 tour wins. Webb Simpson has only about 7 or 8 tour wins. Gary Woodland, 5 or 6. And not many majors, too, to their names as an overall group. And then, of course, you add in Keegan Bradley there, who hasn't won a major, has not had a great stretch over the last however many years, up until the last probably 3 years, where his career has really come back and resurged. So I think all of that considered, right? It's kind of like the same thing as these are the grinders. These are the guys who have played great golf their entire career, but have never been the all-time ultimate superstar, with the exception of Furyk. I think Gary Woodland had a spike when he won the U.S. Open in 2019, and that was really it. Kevin Kisner was always about the 20th ranked player in the world, was at one time a little bit higher, but that was for a shorter time. Brandt Snedeker, same sort of situation, was at one point the 4th best player in the world, was never on the level of some other guys that were in his age group. I think that kind of gives an advantage almost, because these guys understand what it's like to have to go through turmoil and fight through challenges. Whereas you put a bunch of superstars and guys like Tiger Woods who have never lost, and you're like, all right, does he understand what it takes to win? I know he has that like gritty feeling and that like Mamba mentality that everyone talks about. But would Tiger Woods really be the greatest captain? He hasn't been a captain yet on one of these teams. Like, would Phil Mickelson really make that incredible of a captain? I'm sure they're great leaders. Don't get me wrong. And they understand what it's like to grind and try and win. But I don't think they have that kind of level as the true grinders. And I think that's also, and my opinion has been shifting a little bit towards even who's going to be on this team, right? We talked like Brian Campbell this week, who's having legitimately the 2nd worst multi-win season of all time, according to Jason Sobel, which is insane. He's the last ranked player on the PGA Tour in driving distance, but he has 2 wins this year, and not many guys can say they even have 1. But you look at like who might make this team. It's a lot of guys who are grinders: Andrew Novak, Matt McNeely, Ben Griffin, Brian Harmon, guys who had to fight throughout their careers in order to get to where they are now. Brian Campbell might be making a late push. That's like JJ Spawn as well. Those are the names that I think kind of, while it isn't the sexiest names on paper, maybe it is the grinder mentality that's going to give them an edge when they go and play at Bethpage this year. Who knows?
Yeah, I mean, I think the biggest thing when it comes to coaching for these guys when they're not players, and it's so different with golf because it's such an individual sport. Like, you can only do so much that's going to affect a guy one way or another. But it's like connecting with the dude as a person is going to change so much. And I think that more so than anything is important with something like golf, where you build that personal connection. And whether it's, the guy for, a month or you know the guy for a day. Like, just build a personal connection first. That way that guy trusts you and can take the advice you're giving him full send rather than with a grain of salt.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think there is talk in the idea of a young team having those connections. Keegan's known these guys for a long time. He hangs out with a lot of them. Gary Woodland, same situation. I mean, hey, Kevin Kisner was on TGL playing with Max Homa and Tom Kim. Like, those are connections that you forge. You meet the younger guys. Webb Simpson, back end of his career, a little bit different. Furick's been on this team forever, coaching or playing for Ryder Cups. Seneca's a little bit on the outside, but still is in the heyday of his career, kind of similar to a Stuart Sink sort of mentality. I certainly think this team has a chance, and it makes it interesting now with Gary Woodland joining the fray as another one of those like younger Keegan Bradley era age guys who stands out as being hip and knows the guys, but also can give a perspective that you do got to fight in order to get to where you are, and kind of bring up the grinder mentality that some of these guys don't necessarily have. Final thing before we hit the break here, Colin Morikawa, we talked about it 2 weeks ago, how he's changed his putter so many times. Now he's changed his caddy for the third time in about 5 weeks. Billy Foster, the legendary caddy who was on Matt Fitzpatrick's bag during the 2022 U.S. Open at the Country Club, will be joining him for the next 2 weeks at the Scottish Open and at the Open Championship. A huge move for Colin Morikawa, who last week, when asked by reporters what he's going to do on his bag, he had a former friend and teammate on his bag. Colin had a bit of a tiff with the media, got a little bit annoyed about some things, had a bit of a back and forth. Billy Foster is a huge get, and he has over 40 wins, 40 years of experience in the bag, only one major victory. Him and Fitz split back in March. They had kind of been living off shared time for a little bit. But this is a guy who's looped for Thomas Bjorn and Lee Westwood, Darren Clark, Silvio Ballesteros towards the back end of his career. And with a knowledge of link-style golf is so big for Colin going into the next 2 weeks to get him right. Despite the fact that he's changing his clubs every 3 days, it's still a welcoming sight to see that he's going to have some pretty good experience going into the Genesis Scottish Open and the Open Championship. So we'll see what happens with Colin Morikawa. But at least from a caddy standpoint, pretty damn good get with a lot of experience.
You know what I think Colin should do, Steve?
Talk to me.
I think he should hit up our friends at MacGregor Golf.
I agree.
That might change things for Colin. Maybe he's just got not the right clubs. He's been going through so many. He hasn't tried MacGregor yet. And, you know, they're born and bred out of the UK. He's getting ready for that link-style golf. MacGregor might be the place to go, Steve.
You know, some of the best, I mean, American and English golfers, right, have started out with MacGregor Golf. Maybe we talk about towns like Jack Nicklaus, gamed them for a long time. A few other major names, Johnny Miller was a MacGregor user. I definitely think that Colin could benefit from a MacGregor putter if he could see his way out of his TaylorMade sponsorship. MacGregor Golf, for you guys and you individuals who want to get into the game of golf or are looking to upgrade your next set, could definitely benefit from the great folks at MacGregor. The 2024 My Golf Spy direct-to-consumer golf brand of the year. You can get anything from driver heads only to full-on golf clubs, full-on sets, range finders, push carts, travel bags, everything from the little junior golfer you're trying to get into the game, boy or girl, all the way up to the seniors with their patented and high-tech hybrid irons. Apologize, I can't even speak. Hybrid iron setup. MacGregor Golf is going to be able to get you suited, bagged up, and ready to get out on the golf course. Check out the link in our description to get in on the action with the boys.
Plus, they're just now introducing the MT86 Pro irons, Steve. They look sweet, first of all. And you can build your own set, and it's starting at $799.99.
Plus, also, can't say this enough. Most places, when you buy their clubs, you're only getting like a 1 month money-back warranty. They give you a full year. Game them for a year. If you don't like them, send them back. But you know what? I guarantee you're going to absolutely fall in love with these golf clubs. Jack Nicklaus has gained them. Greg Norman has gained them, even though it's a bit of a controversial name. But they've dated back all the way to 1829, and they are the brand that you want to get in with if you are just starting your love for the game or if you're getting in as a seasoned veteran. MacGregor Golf, Link in our description. Go check them out.
100%. Love
Absolutely.
MacGregor Golf.
We're going to take a short break. On the other side, we have a bit of a lesson from one Tiger Woods. We're also going to get into our social media clip of the week and our shout outs and beer money coming up right here on the Underground for KB and Sewell. We'll be right
Get in the Hole is brought to you by PHI Apparel Company, our incredible merch partners. PHI Apparel Co. provides unique designs and high-quality clothing from t-shirts to hoodies for every golfer around. With their original designs for all, there's no doubt you'll stand out on the course, the driving range, or at the 19th hole. Go to phiapparel.co and use code UNDERGROUND at checkout for 10% off any order. That's code UNDERGROUND at phiapparel.co and grab exclusive Get in the Hole podcast merch and support your favorite golfers.
Subscribe to Get in the Hole Pod.
We are back right here on the Underground, Get in the Hole. KB and Steve-O joining you on a awesome Monday in the world of golf. KB, I'm seeing that pretty nasty Farmer's Tan.
Yeah, I got a little toasty watching Zach Wheeler absolutely cook yesterday. But you know what? Well worth it to see him throw a one-hitter in person. Speaking of nasty, in the best way possible, did you see the photo I just sent you?
Yeah, dude, this thing looks hot.
Yeah. We're doing a lot of work for them over at the day job.
Dude, a full-on short course? That's insane.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, to say that I am absolutely ecstatic for what's to come over at One Trout National.
Dude, that place, they're putting up this giant building there right now that has nothing to do with the golf course, allegedly. Dude, this place looks like a United Nations building with how gigantic it is.
I love it. It's
Like,
probably
I'll
like a
have
warehouse.
to drive by it tomorrow and send you a photo of it because nobody knows what the building is for outside of the fact that multiple people have said it has nothing to do with the golf course.
This is like Area 51, it sounds like.
That's literally what I feel like I'm driving by every single day. It's Golf Area 51.
We're treading into like very sus territory. Is the USA like hiding something from the world and they're
Literally
disguising
like
it on a golf course?
I have no clue what's going, but like every day there's like something new that's like happening over there. Like I feel like I'm in Stranger Things with all the trucks driving by and everything. I'm just like waiting for the mind flare to pop up at night or something. I'll have to like this week because I'm thankfully off the rest of the week from the day job. I might just have to like go down there and like put my phone on a tripod and just like
I'm gonna be honest with you, dude. You know, like I've been through Vineland, New Jersey. It could very much be like Hawkins, Indiana.
Could be.
If you drop me,
bigger.
if you drop me in Vineland, New Jersey, and I had no idea where I was, it could have very well been Hawkins. Like truly, it could have literally been middle of fucking nowhere.
Hey, we get the job done.
Let's get into our shout outs of the week presented by our friends over at Acorn Hills, our favorite merch partners who are changing clothing through conservation. They're offering eco-friendly packaging, materials, and clothing tags on styles that I guarantee you will absolutely love. Go check out acornhillsco.com. Use code GITH15. That's Getting the Hole 15 for 15% off your next order at acornhillsco.com. Brand new Highlander polos just dropped in the store. They look absolutely fantastic. Get geared up for the summer, the fall, the winter, anything from your favorite quarter zips to polos, hats, beanies, and ball markers and beyond. And honestly, dude, the sales section here at Acorn Hills looking like it's going to be all over for me. I'm absolutely buying in very soon, up to 40% off currently on their sales store. So check them out, acornhillsco.com. Use code GITH15 to get 15% off your next order. We lead off with the worst driver on the PGA Tour, Brian Campbell, gets his second tour victory in the same year. This is a great story for a lot of different reasons. I mean, we mentioned it back when he won the Mexico Open, the turnaround that this guy had going pro in 2015. He was once low am honors at the U.S. Open in 2015. He had never gotten his feet under him in the game of golf until very recently. He battled through the KFT. He got to where he is now. An absolute huge jump for Brian Campbell to go from almost grinder nobody to a 2-time tour champion. Tops of the FedEx Cup standings right now, is looking like a pretty good standout bet. To see him in the playoffs if he continues with his meteoric rise right now. But things are looking up for Brian Campbell. That's been a really good, a really great story. So good for Brian Campbell, your champion at the final Creature Crown tournament of the year at the John Deere Classic. KB, I'm not sure if you saw this on social media, but did you get the chance to see that LeBron James is now a golf guy?
Are we surprised?
Absolutely not.
This is no slight at LeBron, but he's been living in LA for who knows how long. Perfect weather, all that good stuff. He's getting older. He tell you he's getting older. You know, he sees what Steph Curry's doing out there on the golf course. He sees what Michael Jordan's been able to do on the golf course. He had that cigar in his mouth looking like MJ. Probably just wants to have a nice little hobby after he gets done doing all the haircuts for Prime Day.
I mean, I can't blame him. Like,
Not at all.
It makes total sense. And honestly, you know what? That swing don't look that bad.
Not at all.
That's what, like, you don't golf. I
Like
guarantee you, like, well, I could tell you right now, like, from someone who's watched a lot of first-time golfers just step up and try and, like, whack a ball, and I'm sure he's gotten lessons, his swing looks pretty damn good for a guy who's just a general novice.
Yeah, you mean to tell me he's not getting lessons from Tiger Woods?
I mean, he's definitely got lessons from somebody, probably like Butch Harmon. Someone
Or
big
Steph.
Time. Hey, look, you know what?
When they were over in France, Steph probably brought over a nice couple clubs over there.
They go
while
over
they
to,
were waiting for Team USA to go hoop.
They go to LIVGolf National. They go warm up with Scotty Scheffler over in Paris.
Steph and Scotty were showing LeBron the ropes.
I gotta know how Steph Curry is number one on this odds board for the American Century. Like how do you get so fucking good at this sport?
He's so good. I mean, his dad's very good.
I know, but like it's something incredible. Like I've been grinding this game for 20 years now, and I can't seem to get better than like a 15 handicap. And like I know guys who are playing, and in 1 year they're a sub 10 handicap. And I'm like you need to just be like naturally gifted or just have some sort of like insane luck, because golf is such a man's sport. I heard a great example of like why men love golf. You know how like men always want to see results and they always want to like fix something? Golf is the ultimate fixer. Some guys love to fix cars. You look at someone's like golf swing and immediately like, oh yeah, no, you got to do this, you got to do this, like everyone tries to fix their golf game, and a lot of people just can't do it. And I find it like fascinating how guys can just like walk out on the golf course and just know it and just figure it out so easily. And LeBron, granted, the swing needs a little bit more adjustment, but from a first glance, it actually doesn't look pretty bad.
And for a guy his height,
that's true too. Like you need
6'10",
some you need to especially make clubs. Also, I'm an avid smoker. How do you keep that cigar in your mouth and not like inhale every ounce of that smoke? Because that shit burns the throat.
I love how you casually just said, I'm an avid smoker.
I'm an avid smoker of cigars. I don't do anything else.
We're going to get Chantix commercials on here next year. We're going to have
the
Rob
podcast sponsored by what's like the top like nicotine patch company?
I don't even know.
I don't smoke like that.
We're gonna have you. You're gonna be replacing. May he rest in peace, Ray Liotta. It's gonna be Steve Liotta over here. I'm Stevie Mac, and I take Chantix.
Only if I could be Ray Liotta in Goodfellas.
It'd be Golf Fellas.
I think we just found a new genius idea. We need to find another Italian guy.
I mean, Dom has started golfing quite a bit. He's very Italian, too.
We need Dom and like Nikki Cass to go and golf together and just like become like on the golf fellas. Oh, absolutely ridiculous. Shout out to Max Homa. He was asked this week about why he's deactivated his Twitter account, and I got to say, a very mature answer from Max Homa. Obviously, one of the core rate my golf swing, chirping at everybody, kind of got famous through social media first, golfers. He called it, quote, a social media haven for assholes, and he said he'd rather have more in-person connection because he hears such horrible things online, but has never really heard anything bad said when it comes to like being in person. People don't say nearly as rude things when they're not behind the Twitter fingers of their phone. So good comment on Max Homa, although I will say I do miss not having Max in the social media limelight to chat with.
I saw such a good tweet the other day. It was like, I forget who it was, so I apologize. It was like Max Homa quit this website, which should like goes to show you that you can get better at your craft by leaving the internet, which I certainly will not be doing.
I gotta say, like, honestly, disconnecting is really like so great. Like, I'm going to St. Thomas this week, and I'm very excited to just like disconnect from the world, not have phone access or service. I'm just gonna be hanging, doing my thing. I think it's gonna be glorious. Like, it's great to just kind of disconnect. Want to give a shout out to Lottie Wode, the senior at Florida State University, won the Ladies Irish Open this week at the Women's Irish Open. She dominated the field. The 21-year-old Englishwoman, won by 6 strokes en route to her first victory. It's the first time an amateur has won on the LPGA or the Ladies European Tour since 2022. A huge win for Lottie Wode, again, going into her senior year. She's a former Augusta National Women's Amateur, and now she gets a very big first win on the professional tour, but as an amateur. So we'll see her next year after she graduates. Listen to this, actually. Was just going through her statistics and everything on at Florida State. Guess what her major is?
What is it?
Give me like a wild guess.
Journalism.
Nope.
You got me beat.
Physics.
Jesus.
We got a smarty pants who's also incredibly talented at golf.
Yeah.
It's pretty damn good. On to the best segment of the week, our birthday shout outs. Oh no, we have breaking news.
This is just very funny news. And I'm having ultimate Mandela effect from this. So the Knicks have a new coach, Mike Brown.
Mike Brown, yeah.
I could have sworn for the life of me that he was a Knicks coach prior. Never was.
No,
it just
but
feels like he's coached the Knicks.
Are you thinking of like Mike Woodson?
Maybe. But New York basketball on Twitter said the Knicks hit the Coach Brown triple crown. Hubie, Larry, Mike.
Fucking love it. That's what studs. You want to talk about hitting the home run on names? So I want to give a shout out to this fellow who actually you mentioned his descendant last week on the show. Want to give a happy 88th birthday this week to Charles Coody. He's a Abilene Christian and TCU graduate. He won the 1971 Masters Tournament, celebrating his 88th birthday this week. Back in 1971 on that wild April Sunday, Coody bested greats Johnny Miller and Jack Nicklaus by 1 to claim one of the most exciting Masters finishes of all time. That same year, he'd represent the USA in 1971 at the Ryder Cup at Old Warson in Missouri, defeating the UK 18.5 to 13.5, continuing an American winning streak that hit 7 straight victories and would extend all the way through 1983. Happy 88th this week to Charles, and best of luck to his grandsons, both Pearson and Parker Coody, as they both take on their young careers, both UT Austin alumni. Also, on top of that, Charles Coody, his son is Kyle Coody, who's also a pro golfer. He has 2 daughters, Karen Coody and Kristen Coody. Karen spelled Caryn, and Kristen spelled Kristyn.
It's ultimate. We have furniture in Target.
They're really big on the YN last names.
Ugh.
But then, of course, also Pearson, Pierceson.
No.
Pearson.
No.
Very down south.
Ugh.
They say yes, ma'am, and no, ma'am.
It gives me cooties.
I remember the Charles Cootie. Good shit. Love
I have our favorite website up, Steve. We've got some very historic birthdays today on thisdate.com, our favorite website. No free ads. We start off, Steve, today, the greatest invention of all time. Otto Frederick Rohwedder, born in 1880. Today, as we record this on July 7th, an American engineer, born in Davenport, Iowa. He invented the bread slicing machine.
Oh, damn it. So, like, he's the guy?
He's
the sliced bread guy?
The bread slicer.
All right. You want to tell me, like, the Mount Rushmore of, like, the guy? He's the guy.
There. He's the guy.
Not
guy.
Judy Cortez in Spy Kids 3D. This fucking guy. What's his name?
His name is Otto Frederick Rohwedder.
Rohwedder?
Rohwedder.
More like fucking bedwetter.
More like bread slicer. Also born on this day, George Cukor, an American film director, best known for My Fair Lady, Philadelphia Story, and most notably, The Wizard of Oz, was born on this day in New York City.
Oh, wow.
Also born today, Satchel Paige, an absolute legend of the game. Also born on this day, just a great name, in 1914, a Dutch pianist named Cor de Groot.
Not to be confused with coup de grace.
Or I Am Groot.
I Am Groot.
Also born on this day in history, we have Mr. Ringo Starr.
You're also missing a few other key famous names. Celebrating his 59th birthday today, Jim Gaffigan.
I was not done. Ringo Starr was mine because he was most notably mentioned to be canon in the MCU. If you've watched Ironheart, he may or may not have made a deal with Mephisto. So happy birthday to Ringo. Also born on this day, back in the day, Jim Day in 1946, a Canadian equestrian rider, an Olympic gold team jumping in 1968, born in Thornhill, Ontario. Shelley Duvall, who recently passed away in 2024, unfortunately, American actress from Popeye, Nashville, The Shining. She was born in Fort Worth, Texas on this day in 1949. Also on today's birthday list, Kevin A. Ford, American astronaut, born in Portland, Indiana. Ralph Sampson, basketball legend. And we also have, like you mentioned, Jim Gaffigan. We also have, where did he go? You'll love this as a college football fiend that you are. Michael Westbrook was born on this day. College Football Hall of Fame wide receiver. Great NFL name. Stoney Case, American NFL quarterback for the Arizona Cardinals, born in Odessa, Texas in 1972. Michael Voss, Australian rule footballer. And then also born on this day, John Buck, famous American baseball catcher.
Not father of Joe Buck.
Not father of Joe Buck. John Buck, who always had great catcher's masks.
Yes.
Born in 1981 on this day, Sinister Gates, the American guitarist from Avenged Sevenfold.
Bro, you are missing some big names.
I'm not even close to being done. Tom Sandoval, born on this day in 1982 from Vanderpump Rules. Also born on this day, back in the day, the big one. Where did she go? What is happening here? Born on this day in 1980. American figure skater, arguably the GOAT, in Torrance, California, Michelle Kwan.
Not Tanya Harding.
Not Tanya Harding.
Not Nancy Kerrigan.
Not Nancy Kerrigan. Also, this is just a great name for what this guy did. Born in 1979 in Kings Lynn, United Kingdom. He was a British racing driver. Carl Breeze. Great name for your occupation.
That should have been like a guy in the Cars movies. Also celebrating her birthday today. At 53 years old, Lisa Leslie, one of the greats all time in the W. Jack Whitehall, Alex Pereira, the UFC fighter, and of course, actually, here's a good one. Never thought you would ever hear these two names thrown together in a sentence. Celebrating his 23rd birthday and her 28th birthday. Instagram and TikTok star Hasbulla turns 23 today.
That's crazy.
And KB's favorite porn star Kenzie Reeves turns 28.
Whoa. We're going to take a quick 30 because we also have to mention, born in 1971 in Chertsey, United Kingdom, British rower. Great name. Throwback to last week's episode if you haven't listened to it. Very Harry Potter laden. This guy would be in Athlete Hogwarts, Alistair Potts.
What a great name.
Amazing name.
Wow.
I can't believe
fire.
Bula is 23.
What a world as Bula turns 23. Let's get to our social media clip of the week here. Courtesy of our friends over at Tomahawk Shades. Tomahawk Shades keeping your eyes protected from the dastardly sunlight all throughout the golf season from the first hole to the 18th green and beyond. Check out TomahawkShades.com and the Tomahawk Shades app and use code USP to earn a great and valuable 25% off your next order at TomahawkShades.com and the Tomahawk Shades app. I caught some great commentary from the Smiley Kaufman show. Smiley Kaufman, of course, former PGA Tour player and now pundit or actually on-course reporter, not really pundit, for NBC Golf. He brought up the Tiger 5, which was a lesson of 5 things that Tiger Woods tells all golfers to do in order to become the best person that you are. And I want to take 5 minutes and make this not only about how to become a better golfer, but also just like how the importance of doing the little things right or doing the little things better to make yourself better, right? KB, we're not just a golf podcast. We're also a self-help group, right? Like we're here to make you better. Very similar to how ScottONeil wrote that book about.
I'm always where my feet are. Look, Steve. Look, they're right here. Free feet. Free feet.
Oh my god. We didn't.
I am where my feet are, Scotty. How you doing?
Why put them socks on? We didn't want the feet content.
I'm in my own house. The dogs can roam free.
Oh my god!
No, I don't need to be on a leash in the house.
We just saw your fucking hairy dogs.
Yeah, well, guess what? It's gonna be censored because there's some freaks out there that I can't let them see that for free.
Please put that on social media. So the Tiger 5, the 5 lessons that Tiger Woods says to make you a better golfer. He says to minimize 3 putts, avoid bogeys with wedges, get up and down when you absolutely can, meaning if you are in a situation where you can get up and get down for a par, you do that. Avoid double bogeys and no bogeys on par 5s. Those are 5 simple rules. And I'm reading them and I realize, you know what? It's very much about the idea that these aren't things that you think about very often, but always 2 putting or 1 putting, even better. Avoiding bogeys in your short game, making pars on par 5s, avoiding doubles. Think about it. You play bogey golf. That's 18 over par. You're playing a par 72. You're shooting 90. Like that's pretty good, all things considered, right? So I was taking this to heart and I was thinking about it. And there was one word that came up a lot in the Tiger 5 that I think is really valuable that I think people could learn from. And it's the word avoid, right? Tiger doesn't say to not make bogeys with wedges or never make a double bogey or never 3-putt or never make bogey on a par 5. No, he says avoid because that's going to happen. You're going to have those moments where you make double bogey or you're going to have that one really bad chip that you wish you're going to have back. And you might shoot double. You might even shoot triple on a hole. But I think the important thing is that if you could do the little things better, you'll in turn be a better person as a whole. Now, KB, we were talking about this the other day at work. Pardon My Take was doing their like Mount Rushmores, and one of them was the Mount Rushmore of things that you hate. And it could be like people you want to punch in the face. And
some good ones on that list.
My friend asked me like, "Oh, like what's yours?" And I'm like, "Oh my god, people who cut you in line, people who don't hold the door for you or don't say thank you when you hold the door for them." I did also say specifically Jake Paul, but I think it's fascinating, right? Like, we're gentlemen. I hope so, right? I hope we haven't
men of class.
Yeah, we haven't wronged people in our lives. We haven't cheated on relationships and people.
I also just have a whole list of people that I'd like to punch in the face, like category of people just from working in retail.
Oh yes, no, I'm totally with you. I want to punch dumb people who don't read my emails. But I thought like those things lined up really well, right? Like it's the simple things in life, like saying thank you when someone holds the door, or bless you when someone sneezes, or all those small things. Back when I was in high school, we saw a great video, and we'll link it in the description. It's the 10 things to do in life to change the world, and it was a UT Austin commencement speech. I'm probably going to go and listen to it after the show. And it was a Navy Admiral William McRaven, who talked about the 10 things that you can do to change the world. And he said in the beginning of his speech, he says that if every person in the world can just change the lives of 10 people, and those 10 change the lives of another 10, and another 10, and another 10, in 3 generations, only 3, we will have been able to have changed the lives of every single person in the world. You're on this earth for over 80 years, right? Tell me you can't change the lives of one person every 7 years? I can tell you right now, I probably have changed the lives of at least 7 or 8, one of which being my wife. I would say I probably changed your life. Like, there are a lot of people that even doing the small things for them. Friend of mine, her grandma passed away today. May she rest in peace. I haven't talked to her in probably 4 or 5 years. A simple DM, hey, hope you guys are doing good. Wishing the best for your family. Simple as that. She's like, oh my God, I've been thinking about you. Thank you so much. Like, the small things, the little interactions that we don't talk about enough, I think are so valuable. And I feel like we kind of get away from things as we look at the world right now, and we talk about there are wars going on over such fucking stupid shit. And we have arguments in political parties and golf leagues over dumb shit. And people on Twitter, like Max Homa saying a safe haven for assholes. I'm sure you could commiserate with me here too, that the world would just be better, not only if we can be better golfers and do the little things right or better, but if people can do the little things better, we'd all be a lot better in the long run.
Plus, they say if somebody's in your life for 7 or more years, they're in your life forever. Yeah, exactly. That is the like benchmark. So whenever I am like consistently in someone's life, I monitor and go back to when it started. And as soon as it hits that 7-year point, I'm like, I send a simple text to all of those people. There's been very few, but I send a simple text to them, and it's literally, you're stuck with me forever.
What are we at? We're a little over the 4-year mark, I think, something like that. Yeah,
You're what,
May
21,
May of 21.
Yeah.
So all right, so
you're halfway.
I'm very excited for in 3 years to get my my celebratory text.
Yeah,
I'm looking forward to that.
I mean, one of my best friends, she is like my best friend in the entire world. We've been friends since 2012 because we sat at the same table at a Sweet 16. And then I have become the fun uncle to both of her kids, and I officiated her wedding.
Look at that. Hey, we're talking about how doing the little things right and being good people can really make a difference in the world. And KB said that the benchmark, 7 years, after 7 years of you knowing somebody, they're in your life forever. How crazy is it that you've known me since the 2nd grade? And we've been together for 11 years.
You're working on round 2.
Yeah, we're working on on 2 fucking lunar rotations over here.
When you get to round 2, it'll be round 1 for me.
That is true. That's very fair. Look at
I'm
that.
1 life cycle behind your wife.
You're 1 lunar rotation behind my wife.
So then in 3 years, we need to figure out who the next person is that's 1 lunar rotation behind me. And then you just keep this lunar rotation going.
Well, hold on. So it'd be 4 years behind you, right? Like 3.5 years?
Yeah.
So we'd have to go back to like 2020. Actually, we'd have to go back to 2021. So, I mean, hey, that was when I was in grad school. So there's definitely one of my grad school buddies I met for the first time. I could definitely get in there. We're getting there.
We're getting there.
Let's dive
and then you know what we got to do? We got to be like that. The first episode of Yu-Gi-Oh! We got to get you, your wife, that grad school person, and me, and then we got to do like the giant Sharpie and make the markings of friendship on our hands.
All right, Kaiba. We'll see. Let's get into those beer money picks presented by our friends over at Kenwood Beer. KB, your favorite beer brand. What do you got to say about them?
I love Kenwood Beer, and even though I don't drink, I don't partake in the consumption of alcohol. Steve, you certainly do, and you love a nice cold Kenwood Beer. I love Kenwood Beer because I was drawn in and enamored by their branding. That is my big thing when it comes to alcoholic beverages. If you have good branding, I'm ready to promote you, and I bring in all of my friends that do consume the alcoholic beverage to give it a go. And Steve, you greenlit it right away. You love Kenwood Beer, and it is truly the best in the business. Who doesn't love supporting a small local business in the Philadelphia region? We certainly do. Kenwood Beer, it's the official beer partner of Underground Sports Philadelphia. It's a refreshing light beer, just 4.1% ABV, 120 calories, just 8 grams of carbs. You guys can go to kenwoodbeer.com, use the Kenny Finder to see who's got Kenwood Beer on tap in the New Jersey, Pennsylvania, Maryland, and Delaware areas. You can also find Kenwood Beer at your local liquor stores in those markets. And you can also get Big Kenny's at the Mann Center all summer long. Plus, Steve, it's time of the year. I got to introduce you to this website because Icarus FC, it's a football brand.
Icarus.
Football, I mean soccer. They put out soccer jerseys for beer brands. And they have Kenwood Beer soccer jerseys that are absolutely incredible, that are coming out very, very soon. And I'm just so excited for them to officially go on sale. Kenwood tweeted them a couple days ago, and I need both of them expeditiously because they are absolutely gorgeous. But like I mentioned, kenwoodbeer.com, must be 21 or older to do so with all of this. And of course, guys, please drink responsibly.
Let's jump right into the bets of the week. Top 20 selection at the Scottish Open. KB, take it away. Who you got?
Let's see. Just
by the way, last week we got boned again.
When don't we? You know,
we've been like sitting in a pressure cooker, just like waiting to explode. And I'm hoping it comes to the majors because we've had some really good results at the majors so far this year.
Didn't Ricky play well?
Ricky finished top 20, top 30.
That was close.
Wasn't quite good enough. And of course, the 1 week I take Ben Griffin after 6 straight top 20s. Cuts.
Give me Corey Connors plus 160 for a top 20.
I love it. We're taking Corey Connors there. I am going to go with the runner-up 2 years ago, and the winner last year. Actually, our background photo this week was him cheering with the crowd at the Renaissance Club. I'm going with Bobby McIntyre for a top 20. He's plus 150 on the board. How can you not take the local Scot in his home area playing this week? I'm all in on Bobby McIntyre. Top 10.
Top 10 as I send you the Kenwood Beer jerseys just now. Top 10, I'm going to go with...
this is hot.
Right?
That second jersey's hot.
They're both so clean.
Shit.
Top 20, I'm going to go with... I'm torn between two guys, but I'm going to play it safe. Give me Matt Fitzpatrick plus 330.
Ooh, Fitz at a 330, big time numero here for the local. I'm going to go top 10, and also this includes ties at a really good 200 bill. I'm going to take Xander Schauffele. Has had some really good runs so far in the European area over the last 3 years, including some great finishes at this golf course in particular. At the Renaissance Club, he won in 2022, finished 42nd in 23, but had a comeback 15th placement in 2024. So he's on average roughly about a 20th finish. But last year, if you recall, when he won the Open, it came off of a really strong finish, a really poor finish, or sorry, a good finish at this event. Also had a really good Open run after a great finish 3 years ago. So I think this works out great for Xander for a big plus 200 bill. Top 5.
Give me plus 650 Victor Hovland.
Love that selection. I'm going to go a little bit ahead of him. I'm going to go with someone who has been not playing his absolute best golf, but certainly has been moving the needle a little bit more and has been figuring his game out ever since he won back at the Genesis earlier on in the year. He has had 2 top 20s in his last 4 events. He missed the cut at the US Open. Has not played since the Travelers Championship. I'm going to go with Ludwig Åberg for a top 5. He's plus 550, a huge number here. Top 20s at the Memorial and at the Canadian Open. Of course, played well at the Masters, but is seeing that approach play and that off the tee numbers jumping off the page a little bit more. He's top percentiles in approach and distance over the last 9 rounds of golf. So I'm going to take Ludwig Åberg for top 5. Your game selection this week.
I'm gonna rock with.
Gonna lean with it, rock with it.
I'm gonna double dip, plus 110. Corey Connors for a top 30.
I like it. The fact that I'm getting even money to take Tommy Fleetwood for a top 20 is just disgusting, and for a lot of different reasons. In 3 outings at this event at the Renaissance Club, he's finished 4th, 6th, and 34th. So you can get him for a top 20 when his average finishing position is 15th, and potentially get even more money if you take him top 10. I'm going to go with Fleetwood top 20 at minus 105. KB, the 4 Nations parlay this week looked pretty good for a while. Until Kevin Yu jumped out and took out Jason Day last week. Who are you going with this week for the 4
Was that the only one I missed?
No, you missed the other ones, but it was looking pretty good for most of the week.
God damn.
Guys just sort of like sputtered out a little bit late. You had Power and you had Sewell. Day missed by a wide margin, but Steven Yeager was so close to being top German.
We're going to go top English with Tommy Fleetwood at plus 360.
Big numbers.
We're going to go, if my DraftKings wants to load. Oh, it might have been my Wi-Fi because Xfinity loves stuff with me. Scottish, top Scottish, Bobby Mack plus 115. We are going to go. You know what? We're gonna get a little this week. We're gonna go top French, Victor Perez.
I love that play. That's a great play.
And then we are going to rock out with. We're gonna rock out with Siwoo Kim as top Korean at plus 260.
3rd straight week picking Siwoo Kim, by the way. I love the Victor Perez pick. In 3 events here, he missed the cut, finished 35th, and finished 10th last year at this golf club. Love that selection in Victor Perez. Almost actually took him in my ladder parlay, so I'm glad you took Victor Perez. So I don't have to
odds. Do you want the odds of the 4 Nations parlay this week? It's kind of bonkies. It's kind of bonkies, everybody. Those 4 picks, just to reiterate: Tommy Fleetwood plus 360, Robert McIntyre plus 115, Victor Perez plus 350, Siwoo Kim plus 260, a 4-pick, 4 nations parlay of plus 15,921. $10 to win $1,602.18.
That's crazy because they're all the leaders on the odds board, and they are all great plays. I'm playing that bet. I'm 10,000% playing this bet. And I hope you also join me. I hope you join me as well in playing our ladder parlay of the week. I'm going to go with 3 very interesting and very diverse selections here. Top 40 selection in his 3 rounds, or sorry, 3 events at the Renaissance Club: 30th, 25th, 39th. He's never finished outside of the top 40. Let's hope he doesn't do it this week. The Dane Torbjorn Olesen for top 40. He's plus 120 on the board. Top 30, I'm going to go with the only guy in the field who's had 3 top 15 finishes at this event over the last 3 years. That is Mr. Tom Kim for a top 30. He's plus 160. Has not been playing his best golf, but highest average finishing position next to only Rory McIlroy, a top 10 guarantee for Tom Kim. I'll give him the 20 extra spots and finish top 30. Finally, top 20. I'm between a couple of names. I'm going to go on the lighter side here just so I can lock in a better odds for me to get money back. That'll be Corey Connors at plus 185 for a top 20. That play will pay out. It's 15-1. However, you could also go top 20, and I'm going to take a bit of a stretch here. I'm going with Laurie Cantor for a big week. He's plus 400. The odds would jump all the way up to a whopping, where is he? Those odds would jump all the way up to a absurd 30-1. You could also go a little bit lighter too if you want to play that Victor Perez number. It's 25-1 if you play Victor. But I'll go Corey Connors top 20, Tom Kim 30, and Torbjorn Olesen top 40 for 15-1 overall payout. Finally, your winner at the Scottish Open this week.
I am going to go with, and I'm going to need you to run those names back for me since you're riding with me. I'm riding with you. Again, would be organizational malpractice, not to mention that Scotty Scheffler's plus 360. It's good Monties. Steve, am I going to do it? No, I'm not going to do it. I'm going to go Bobby Mack plus 3,000.
I just want to let you know because you're not doing it. I'm going to do it.
Oh, no.
Oh, no. I'm going to do it.
Oh, he's going to fucking do it.
Oh, stab me in the fucking heart, Tommy Fleetwood. One more time. One more fucking time, you bastard.
Cut my life into pieces.
Oh my god. Yeah. Fleetwood plus 22-1 to win this event. Real talk though, if I don't take him this week, I'm gonna go with Sepp Straka to win his 3rd event of the year. But
who's that coming down the track?
Hopefully not Sepp Straka, because I want Tommy Fleetwood to win this week. This is his first start since losing at the Travelers. I know he's fucking pissed. And this guy, nobody in this field plays better in Europe than Tommy Fleetwood. This guy comes home and it's like the $1 million weight gets lifted off his back. His mama's cooking supper in Liverpool, in Merseyside. He's fucking going home. He's taking shits where he used to fucking shit when he was 5 years old. This is his week. I'm kidding. He's in Scotland. He's not in England, but it still doesn't matter. He's going to do just fine. Tommy Fleetwood, please, for your first career win on the PGA Tour. Also, might I add, it isn't really a PGA Tour event. It's actually a European Tour event that is co-sanctioned by the PGA Tour. So he gets a record in both books, which means it only gives him the better odds to win.
Well,
and the worst part is I took him last year too.
With the people out there who have which I don't know if you are one of those people, you're an absolute sicko. With the take artists try to disqualify this as a win for Tommy Fleetwood because it's only sanctioned by the PGA Tour.
Oh, no. It counts in the record book, so it counts.
Well, I'm just saying the take artists out there, like the Stephen A. Not saying Stephen A. Smith would, but like that realm of sports world.
The people in the golf world are at least a little bit more respectable and can actually get past this. But oh my God! With that being said, Tommy Fleetwood, don't let us down this week, please.
Remind me of your ladder parlay again.
Olesen top 40,
Okay.
Tom Kim top 30, and Corey Connors top 20. That's going to do it all for us here on the Get in the Hole podcast, episode 212 of Get in the Hole. Shout out to all of our awesome sponsors for helping us continue to get this show all the way to the moon. Tomahawk Shades, Kenwood Beer, Acorn Hills, 47 brand, MacGregor Golf, and so on. Be sure to like, follow, subscribe on all of our social medias at Get in the Hole Pod on Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, and the like. On Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and YouTube. Just look up Underground Sports. You'll be able to find us as well as all the other great shows on our network, including Top Bins, OTB, Underground Circuit, and so much more. KB, your final thoughts before we go.
Speaking of moon, this coming Monday, so next week's show will be recorded on Tuesday because Monday, one of our tentpole live stream events, it's Moonshot Mania, baby. Home Run Derby live stream. Myself, Stevie Mac, DJ, Hoots will be joining us this year. Intern Jacob will be joining us this year. And the illustrious return of Patty Pitts back in action with us for the Derby stream. The ever so monumental moment where DJ sees Pat Pitts biting into a Baconator, just caught in 4K for the world to see, and that being their first interaction.
All I'm telling you is, as we go into this week, there's only one person that I want to see win this thing.
I know you're riding with Big Dumper.
Big fucking Dumper.
I felt
Cal
like
Raleigh is the most average-looking person on earth.
with the fattest ass alive.
With the fattest ass of all time. This man deserves so much more. Fuck Aaron Judge. He's on pace for 62 right now. The Big Dumper, Cal Raleigh.
I felt like Thanos when he sat down and said, I can finally rest, when Pete Alonso said he was not participating in the home run derby this year.
And now
we didn't have to cut to him doing his fucking military up downs and wall sits and bench pressing, looking like a Sneetch from Dr. Seuss in the fucking clubhouse.
The only thing worse that he does is when the guys come together after win and he like humps them.
Ugh. He's so gross.
Hey, it's the Mets. We're all about love and friendship, right? Episode 212 again, the whole folks. Thank you so much for joining us again. Be sure to like, follow, subscribe on all of our social medias at Underground Sports Philadelphia. And of course, Get in the Whole Pod on all of our socials. Check them out down below. You can see us here. Follow me and KB on Twitter and Instagram at KBizzle311 and Stephen McAvoy __. That's going to do it all for us here for Kyle Bennett, KB, your boy, Steve McAvoy. We'll see you guys. Thanks for listening to Get in the Hole, the official golf podcast of Underground Sports Philadelphia. Catch us every week wherever you get your favorite podcasts, and be sure to like and subscribe on Apple, Spotify, and YouTube. You can follow us on Twitter and Instagram at Get in the Hole Pod, and follow Underground Sports Philadelphia at Underground PHI. We'll see you next time, and remember, get in the hole!